Hey there, welcome back to another Voltage Modular tutorial. Today's video is another quick tip, and I wanted to show you around one of my favorite modules inside of Voltage Modular, which is the plugin host. The plugin host allows you to run any of your plugins inside of Voltage Modular, including synthesizers and effects, or even running another instance of Voltage Modular inside of Voltage Modular, which is a lot of fun to explore. Here in Voltage Modular, we've got both the plugin host modules. We have the mini plugin host over to the left and the regular plugin host over to the right. The only difference between the two is the amount of parameters that you can modulate. Both of these work in the same way. You can activate or deactivate them. You can select a plugin here, you can view the plugin editor, and you can set the latency for the plugin as well as go through its presets. To begin loading a plugin into the plugin host, we'll go to Select Plugin, and since I'm on Windows, I can load a VST or VST3 instrument. So I've loaded a copy of Dune 3 here, and if we hit View Editor, that will pull up my synth right here, and it's loaded inside of Voltage Modular, effectively running as a module. Now, in order to get this working, we'll close Dune 3 here, and we'll need to wire this up. So because this is running an instrument, we'll need to wire it up like we would another instrument or synth module. In this case, we have the MIDI input, so we'll grab the MIDI from host here, run that into our MIDI input, and then we'll use the outputs here for the left and right. So we've got two pairs, one left, one right, and two left, two right. In this case, we're just going to use one left and one right, so we'll run those out to our main outputs here, and if I give this a play, we should hear some sound. Now this on its own is pretty exciting, but we can take this idea quite a bit further. So let's begin by exploring adding some modulation to our synthesizer from Voltage Modular. Let's begin by searching for a formula, and then I'm going to search for two different LFOs here. So we'll grab the regular old LFO from Cherry Audio, and then just to show you what's going on, let's go ahead and grab an oscilloscope. What I want to create is a more complex LFO than just a regular LFO like the ones inside of Dune 3. So I'm going to grab the sine wave here and put this into the X input of the formula, and then let's do the triangle wave into the Y input. Then I'll change the frequency, run the output into the oscilloscope, and I'm going to change my formula to be X times Y, and we've got something new. Let's attenuate this a bit, and maybe slow the modulation down, just so it's not so totally ridiculous. Now you can see here we've got a morphing but smooth LFO shape. The parameter slots here allow us to target a parameter of our synthesizer. So let's go to this first window here. We can go in here and then select any of these options, but obviously this has a lot of options and I'm not quite sure what I want to use. So instead, let's go to the View Editor and Learn option here. Let's take this first instance and I'm going to wiggle the control for oscillator 2 in the mixer, and we'll see that the plugin host is currently learning. Once I wiggle this though, now it's assigned to Mixer Oscillator 2. Now that we've got this assigned here, we'll go down to our formula and take the output and run it into the input of the parameter modulator. Then we'll use the attenuverter over on the left side and increase that. And as you can see now in Dune 3, I've got my Oscillator 2 moving around, and look mom, no hands. Let's give this a quick play and we should hear Oscillator 2 blending in based on the modulation. Now, to take this idea one step further, let's load an effect into the plugin module host. So I'm going to Alt-click and drag this over. Then I'm going to go back to Select Plugin and load a VST. And let's grab one of my favorite reverbs, which is Aural River here. Now we can just increase the reverb size to something like that. And we'll go ahead and run the audio through this module to use it as an effect module and then back out through our main output. Let's unwire the master outputs here, and if we go down to our instance of Dune 3, we're going to run that into the left and right inputs of the Aural River. Then we'll take the left and right outs and wire those to our main output, and now we'll hear the sound of Dune 3 running through Aural River right inside of Voltage Modular. One last cool idea I wanted to show in this video is the idea of letting Voltage Modular play your synths for you. So here I've created a very simple generative machine. I've got a random task with the clock coming from a mini LFO. That's being fed into a quantizer. Then I'm dropping the input amount to 50%. That way I'm not getting 5 different octaves of stuff going on. That way it's a bit more musical. The output of that is running into the pitch input of a CV to MIDI. And then the CV out of the random task is also going to control the gate. So instead of controlling this synth with my MIDI controller here, I can unwire that and instead use the CV to MIDI to play Dune 3. And I think you get the idea. This is a really exciting module that allows you to load any effect or instrument you want inside of the plugin host to run as a module inside of Voltage Modular, including being able to modulate it with different controllers or whatever you would like. That wraps everything up for this quick tip, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.